So I am on a mission to accomplish the impossible, and that is to make a simple and easy to follow, relaxing Minecraft build, which for some reason I find this to be more challenging than the 20,000 hours I spent building like a frickin' maniac, all while screaming into my microphone to hype up this insufferable YouTube algorithm. Now here's the thing, in my last video we transformed this abandoned Minecraft village, which I would say was pretty relaxing, but I still got a little carried away. I mean, we built a gigantic fortress, we built the interiors for every single building, not to mention the insane amount of detail I put into every single corner of this project. And by the way, I have read every single comment in the last video, and I'm actually kind of surprised to see how many of you really love this new format. I've basically decided to change things up a bit and just focus on more relatable content, because if you haven't noticed, YouTube is getting a little bit too crazy.
1,000 hours.
That is times the regular time.
I'm an enderman. Is hardcore Minecraft. I made a list of
0.8 million blocks.
Easiest end base that's ever passed.
1,000 command blocks.
Need to escape from a giant fireball heading towards me. There will be a massive eruption.
What does that mean?
May God have mercy on us all.
Yeah, so I'm completely done with the status quo. I just want to make content I actually enjoy and not have to treat you like an algorithm with a 3-second attention span, which is one of the reasons I really think you should subscribe. That way I might just be able to steer away from the insufferable screaming and over editing. So anyway, in today's video I have a big log that I want to I have a I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not doing this again. Let's just jump straight into the video. You guys are going to roast me for that. That was... Okay, so obviously most of this video is unscripted and I have no plan for this build whatsoever other than transforming the big log from the giant house transformation. I do want to go for a more nature themed build, maybe some mushroom houses, waterfalls, I have no idea. I specifically wanted a spruce tiger forest and it did take a few hours and plenty of Minecraft seeds, but eventually I found a small piece of land surrounded by water and tall cliffs, and the best part is the big log should fit perfectly right in the middle of this island. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is start clearing up some of these trees and start preparing the landscape for the actual build itself. I think the giant log being smack in the middle of this island could act like some sort of big town center. Then we can just cross over and potentially surround the outer edges with mushroom houses. I mean, I guess that's just the plan for now. Like I said before, I do want to go for a nature themed build, you know, fantasy, magical forest kind of thing. So while I start preparing everything, I was going to use this time to talk about the state of YouTube again, but honestly, I think I'm over it. I mean, clearly things have been pretty chaotic in the YouTube space, and I've had way too many ups and downs these past few years to really want to engulf myself in even more bad news. In the last video, I did talk about quite a few things, but I never really showed you just how bad things have been. And I know you guys appreciate the transparency, so I wanted to show you the state of my YouTube channel just 3 months ago. I know, it's really bad. I made $370, which is insane. You know, I can't wait to buy my full bag of groceries with this insanely high cost of living. But the reason I'm showing you this is because a lot of people like to talk when they're winning, you know, especially on the internet where we tend to live in this filtered society, but it's very rare to find people talking about things going bad. There's always this common misconception that, you know, YouTubers are rich, and I get this kind of comment all the time. To give you an example, let me present to you Mr. Smarty Pants over here, who didn't make any assumptions while at the same time assuming I'm rich because I have 1.8 million subscribers. But as we all know, the reality is far from it. The good news is though, I have been working hard to save the channel, and luckily I've just about managed to turn things around. It's taken like 2 years, but you know, it's always important to just keep moving forward even when things are going bad, because the reality is you've only truly lost when you've thrown in the towel, so you might as well just keep going. Okay, so that took a little longer than I hoped. You know, the original idea was just to transform the log, but that's already gone out the window because we're pretty much transforming the entire valley at this point. But I have tried my best to work with the landscape as much as possible, even keeping some of the default caves now hidden right behind the waterfalls. And of course, I've also thrown in a couple of Easter eggs for you to find, you know, just for fun. So what I'm going to do is just fix up a few final details like some rocks and other finishing touches, then we can hopefully try and build some of those mushroom houses I mentioned earlier, which I don't think I've ever tried building before, so this should be, you know, relatively interesting. wait, hold up. I think I just failed my mission. I mean, I don't know what just happened, but one thing led to another, and I honestly think I've somehow managed to get carried away again. I don't know what's wrong with me, I just can't seem to keep anything simple. But yeah, I think we should just start building these mushroom houses before I regret even starting this project. By the way, another reason why I mentioned the state of the channel is just because it feels kinda disingenuous to continue posting these overhyped, over-edited videos, pretending everything is fine, when the reality is I've been technically struggling these past 2 years. I'm just trying to be as honest as I can be. But I do have to say, I definitely have to thank you very, very much, because honestly, if it wasn't for my Patreon, I would be definitely drowning right now. You know, I'm still drowning, but at least I'm not drowning in the deep end. I'm drowning in the shallow side, by the shoreline. I don't know if that makes it any better. But if you do want to support me, you can head over to my Patreon, and this very world will also be available to download, as well as all my other work since like 2011, so that's quite a lot of content at this point. So anyway, about these mushroom houses, I know this is a very cliche thing to say, I mention this in practically every single video, but it did turn out way better than I expected. I honestly thought there wouldn't even be enough space for any interior work, but this should literally blow your mind. I mean, look at this mushroom house. You would think there's barely any living space inside, but I'm gonna have to give you a tour because I've worked so tirelessly on these interiors, making sure to get the most out of the space available. So I'll try and make this nice and quick, but as soon as you walk in, we have a small lobby area with an open plan kind of kitchen slash living space, lots of little details. Then we have a staircase up to the second floor, which, by the way, this isn't even the biggest house, but I thought it would be nice to show you just how much I've managed to fit inside this mushroom. It was incredibly tricky to work with, and as you can see, it does get a little bit cramped on the way up to the top. But we do have a large balcony here with some beautiful views. I feel like a real estate agent trying to sell you this mushroom house. I mean, I guess if you do become a Patreon, you could technically live here if you wanted to, but yeah, my favorite part is as we reach the top of the mushroom, it opens up to this nice cozy fireplace. Again, lots of little details in this living space. We also have a small study area, and over on the opposite side, we also have a small storage space, which finally opens up to this large bedroom. I mean, let's be honest, not to like, you know, toot my own horn here, but this is a beautiful work of art. It was very difficult to work with, but I've managed to make every single mushroom house entirely unique. You know, I've tried my best to avoid all this nonsense copy pasting that we normally do when it comes to large projects. Okay, so honestly, I wish I could just go around showing you all the work I've done, every single little detail, but I'd rather you guys experience this in person because there is just so much stuff to see and places to explore, custom items to find, and I've even gone as far as to write random books for some reason. Poems, stories, and even riddles to hidden treasure. It's absolutely ridiculous, so much for a simple project, but I just really wanted to give my Patreons as much value as possible. And yet here we are again, a freaking month later, looking back at everything I've built around this valley, thinking what the heck just happened? I was supposed to be transforming this log, which to be honest, I'm not even that bothered about anymore, but we're gonna have to get this done one way or another. So let's just start by detailing the log and just add a few plants, mossy blocks, you know, mushrooms, pretty much anything I can think of to finally complete this project. Now when it comes to the interior though, I mean this is going to be an absolute nightmare. I honestly have absolutely no clue what to do with this, considering we can't really close off the log because that would just look strange and unnatural, so I'm just gonna have to try my best to make this work. But we do have a few options, and one of those options is to include a giant map. So I'm just gonna fly around, you know, collect all the maps. I think it would be a perfect fit for this town center, and it's honestly just one of those things I always look forward to. I mean, you know, I just love the look of them and they just make the project feel complete. Okay, so I'm not going to lie, this wasn't entirely what I was expecting, but it's still a pretty cool concept for a town center, and there's lots of really nice, interesting features to go with it. But to be fair, I am completely exhausted at this point, despite the fact I'm still building random stuff. So I just want to thank you all in advance for any new Patreons that come from this project, and honestly, I just hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed my big log transformation. Oh man.